He's terrified of you. And you say that he respects you, but it's not respect. It's terrified. He is terrified of you.
You need to be terrified of me too. Dumb. That's why you can't.
A recording of Tyreek Hill and his fiancee Crystal Espinal discussing the criminal case and their son's broken arm. On Wednesday, the Johnson County DA said that a crime was committed. He just doesn't know who to charge. It concerns a 3-year-old with a broken arm.
In it, Crystal and Tyreek talk about what happened. And Crystal repeatedly tells Tyreek that their son said, quote, "Daddy did it." It also appears she's been covering up for the fiance convicted of abusing her.
Because we were getting into it, and he said, "Daddy, you're mean." So we walked up the stairs.
Right.
You
And then
said, come back down here.
Right.
And he didn't want to go down there. But I was like, go down there because it'll end up worse for you.
Right.
So he walked down there, and then you were getting on his about.
And then you said something, right?
No, you kept getting on, and then he started crying, and then you were like, shut up, stop crying.
Right.
Stop crying.
Right.
And then he kept crying because he was scared. He's terrified, and you grabbed onto him somehow, or he fell. One of the two.
I didn't do nothing. That's sad, bro. That is really sad.
Then why does say Daddy did it? Why?
That is sad.
Why does say Daddy did it?
I don't know. He says Daddy does a lot of things.
Like what? A 3-year-old's not going to lie about what happened to his arm. And now somehow this investigation got brought back up, and you're about to lose your. So now I really want you to sit and think about it, because I rode for you against that detective and the CPS people, and they said time and time again that literally kept saying, "Daddy punches me," which you do when he starts crying. What do? You make him open up his arms and you punch him in the chest. And then if he gets in trouble, you get the belt out and you do.
Okay, so what about you? You what you don't do? You also I'm just gonna take it.
No, I told. I told him that he gets whooped. I told him that he gets whooped, but I don't use a belt, which is totally different.
You do use a belt, and that's sad. Even my mama said you use a belt.
When have I used a belt? When have you seen me use a belt? When have I used a belt?
The 3-year-old is not living with either parent. He was removed from their custody a few weeks ago.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.
Have you ever seen somebody going through something or see something on the news and you look at the story and it's like, dang, that could have been me. Like if I didn't make the choice or the decision that I made that was really hard to make, that could have been me. And now all the details of the story don't exactly have to line up. Everything doesn't have to match up and be the same, because you're going to see some of this stuff is kind of extreme. But the outcome was a possibility. You know, sometimes in life you have to make hard decisions. You have to set your feelings aside for what's right and what's wrong, and to protect your child. Now, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Tyreek Hill, Crystal Espinosa, he's a football player. I heard this and it kind of touched me a little bit for the child. I don't care about these garbage-ass parents. I don't care about them. I feel for this child. His arm was broken. I don't know what happened. You heard the audio. What do you guys think happened? This guy apparently has a history, because in December 2014, Hill allegedly choked and punched his now fiance while he was a student at Oklahoma University. The program eventually dismissed him from the football team. In August 2015, he pleaded guilty to domestic violence and battery by strangulation. Hill completed a 3-year probationary period. The conviction was dismissed from his record. And now, Hill had a breakout campaign in 2018, catching 87 passes and 1,479 yards and 12 touchdowns. Amazing! Who's right? Who's wrong? I think they're both wrong. The guy has a history, allegedly, of choking out and strangling the woman. All right? So it's possible. He didn't deny to punching the child in the chest, having him open his hands up and punching him in the chest. This guy has some definite issues. But the problem also lies with this woman. She sold her child out. Now, I'm sure it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy to leave if you're in an abusive relationship. I'm sure it's not easy to leave. But I just have to say, you are a crappy parent if you don't get up and protect your child and leave. At one point in the video, the child was afraid of the man. They're having a discussion. And she tells the child, go down there or it's only going to make it worse. So you mean to tell me this person broke your child's arm? I guess this was before the arm broke or after. I don't know when. You were choked out by this guy once, or who knows how many times, because the reality is when people are abused or going through something like that, it's not just once. When it comes out into the light, it's happened several times or a bunch of times. You sent your child. You sold your child out. So you're not a mother. I'm sorry. You're not a mother. And this guy's not a father. And the sad thing is that when things happen like this, the arguments, the fighting, which it happens, I've been there, things start to escalate. Somebody's got to be able to step out of that. And if especially it becomes violent, the kids watching, it doesn't take much for CPS to get involved. A child can easily get hit in the process. Something can happen, something can get thrown. It's not that hard. Somebody call the cops, a neighbor call the cops. Did you know that even if you're the person that's getting hit and there's a child involved and the child can somehow become involved and it becomes a thing, did you know that both parents can be held responsible? Because even if you are the parent that's getting hit, you're supposed to protect that child. You're supposed to remove yourself from that situation. To me, it looks like this woman still wants to be with him. He's manipulating her with the physical stuff. She's kind of manipulating him. And these two people are so into each other and so selfish that they couldn't stop and be like, hey, there's a child involved. Hey, let's separate.
Yeah, the Johnson County DA now has this recording. Matt, you've heard the entire 11-minute recording. Did you hear anything that could lead to more legal problems for either Tyreek or Crystal?
Well, first of all, as a human being, what I heard was disgusting.
Yeah.
It's conspiracy. So the answer is absolutely yes. You've got one person who's appearing to try to put leverage on the other, and it's kind of a back and forth thing. What's lost is the violent crime that happened to this child. So you have conspiracy, you have child endangerment. That is where you knowingly put your child at risk of being harmed. So both of them should be charged, in my opinion. They should be charged with the aggravated assault and endangering the welfare of a child.
Let me put this into a little bit more of a perspective for you. So if these two dumb people happen to watch these videos, these dumbasses, let me put this into a little bit of perspective for you. This is why I did what I had to do, because I know about this. A study of foster children in Oregon and Washington state found that nearly 1/3 reported being abused by a foster parent or another adult in a foster home. That study didn't even include cases of foster children abusing each other, which I heard happens too. The kids abuse each other. Those kids are going through hell on earth. So let alone the adults, the kids are abusing themselves. Let me bring it into a little bit more perspective for you. A study of cases in the metropolitan Atlanta found that among children whose case goal was adoption, 34% had experienced abuse, neglect, or other harmful conditions. For those children who had recently entered the system, 15% had experienced abuse, neglect, or other harmful conditions in just 1 year.
She rode for Tyreek, meaning that she basically covered for him with a detective. Do you think hypothetically that the DA could use that information to get to Tyreek, to try to strike a deal with Crystal?
Absolutely.
But to go after Tyreek?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I think what I see happening is both of them get charged almost identically, and they call it flipping someone. They go to her and they say, if you testify truthfully against him, then you will receive this benefit for truthful testimony. And it's clear there's an imbalance in the relationship and a lot of control issues back and forth, but she's a willing participant in it too. You can't, give a pass to her.
So I'll end off with this, because I gotta go. I gotta get to work, gotta get my baby girl to school, and it's picture day. Who's at fault here? I think both. You guys tell me down below. Who do you think broke the arm? I'm probably going to go with it was probably the guy. I don't want to fall into that category where it's all the guy's fault. But if there is a history of a supposedly, allegedly strangulation, choking out the woman, you know what I'm saying? It's possible that the guy did break the arm. He didn't deny punching his child in the chest. Apparently, this weak woman, because there's a lot of weak women, there's a lot of weak men. she was okay with him being punched in the chest, okay? This guy, this football guy, he's so weak that he has to beat on a woman. Not only that, he beats on a child. Yeah, man, you're so strong. You're such a man. Your manhood. Oh, you got your respect, right? And now the child's life could be potentially ruined. That child is probably going to have a lot of animosity for his parents. I don't know. It's possible. That child right now is feeling abandoned, alone, doesn't know what's going on. You know, I take my daughter to daycare, and sometimes she cries and all sorts of stuff because children a lot of times wonder if you're coming back. And that's just for a couple hours. Imagine completely being torn apart. And the thing is, too, from what I hear, I don't know if it's still like this with CPS, I've heard of parents that have gone through this. You're on their schedule. You literally, they tell you when and where, and it's like a supervised visit. You're there for, I don't know how long, maybe an hour or so. It's in their hands and their control. And I don't know how you get your child back. You have to prove yourself. Somebody was telling me a story about a lady that went through that apparently she was the one getting hit and abused. And it was happening. I don't know what the details. The child was in there too, kind of involved. And she got in trouble also and lost her child because it's called neglect. You're supposed to remove the child from that situation also. I mean, you guys, I don't know, man. Comment down below. Feel sorry for this kid. I don't feel sorry for his garbage parents at all. And lesson learned, man. The lesson is control yourself. And if it's really bad, remove yourself from the situation. If you have any kind of conscience and you think and care about your child and know that potentially if your child gets taken, you're literally opening them up to be abused. Abused. Not only that, I think children in foster care, they're more likely to do drugs, alcohol, and all kinds of stuff. So Tyreek Hill and Espinal, or whatever the hell your name is, you both failed your child. Failed.
I see potential subscribers. Subscribe for more. This is the mother info war.